Hello, this is Michael Hexter. Welcome to Politics 2100 here on YouTube. So this episode I'm calling Anti-Vax Thug Threatens Journalist on Camera, Oozes Right-Wing Narcissistic Entitlement. So this is a reflection and amplification of a piece of video that the Damage Report, which is a TYT show, reported on a few days ago. It's maybe a 15-second clip of a man of about maybe 65 years, 70 years, wearing a veteran's hat at an anti-vax rally in Washington, D.C., anti-vaccine, quote-unquote, mandate rally. And he is threatening this reporter, I believe a Bloomberg reporter, that he would shoot him, okay, and that if he does something or whatever, or he wishes to shoot him, he wants to shoot him, he feels, and all members of the press, okay. And so this is very alarming to me for a number of reasons. So this gentleman, if you look at him, there's nothing particularly striking about his demeanor, his dress. He's wearing a veteran's hat. He looks like a comfortable middle class man, elderly man, but young, on the younger side of elderly, or late middle age, or old side of late middle age. And he is most probably a veteran because he's wearing a hat that identifies him as a veteran, and perhaps a veteran of he looks a little bit too young to be a Vietnam veteran, but anyway, he is basically, he seems swept up in his own ideology, his own sense of self-righteousness, that he feels comfortable in openly threatening a reporter from a large news agency with violence, with literally that he's going to kill him. And it sounds like he wants to kill him. And so this seems, there's so many different problems with this, and I don't think, the Damage Report is obviously picking this up and showing it, and there is some commentary on the segment where John Idarola and I believe it's Jordan Ewell are saying it shouldn't be forgotten, that we should, but I just want to emphasize how odd and abnormal, at the same time how important this kind of piece of data is, to show you the sense of entitlement, and I call it narcissistic entitlement, grandiose narcissistic entitlement, because this man feels like he can do this with impunity, okay, that he can threaten a member of another person openly that's filming him, and that he can get away with it, and that for instance the police or the FBI won't, and maybe they will find him and they will arrest him for issuing this threat of violence and of a death threat, and it needs to be, it's unacceptable. It's a crime. He is committing a crime in issuing that threat. And so, though, I'm not a lawyer, so maybe if he didn't specify a time and date, it's maybe it's not, he can't be charged with something, but it is all but tantamount to criminal activity. It's sociopathic as far as I'm concerned, even though he's doing it in the open. So, and he's openly, so he has this sense of entitlement, but also of just entitlement to act out and act in a way that's illegal, killing another person, okay, and or reporting that he would kill another person, and he seems very, very, and it doesn't seem to be for personal gain in the sense of a robbery where, or that he's committing something. He feels ideologically correct, so to speak, to kill or want to kill a journalist. And so this is thuggery. So I'm using the word thug with a very, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not even, this is not hyperbole. This man is both a respectable member of his community and a thug, okay? And people need to name this as thuggery. People need to, I use the word sociopathic to sort of give you the kind of overview of, but sociopaths, thugs, all thugs are sociopaths, okay? Or psychopaths, which is, worse. And in other words, people who have absolutely no sense of right, or they have no bond with any other person of attachment of any kind. The sociopath can act out in a gang, and so to speak, and within the gang they treat each other, fairly well, but not. And then within the gang, the sort of the killer person within the gang is the psychopath or psychopaths, and who are the sort of the grimmest, the most ruthless, okay, and cruelest and sadistic members. But anyway, this now I think in the video, John and Jordan. And they go into comment about this, that we have a violent culture, and it's true. This is in some sense the chickens coming home to roost, in the sense that this man may have learned this brutality from his military career, and he may have it may have become normalized to him, but I think it's a step further, that there's been a permission slip given by Trump largely, but also by the Republican Party that continues to endorse Trump, and also Rush Limbaugh before him, and Charlton Heston and Ronald Reagan. So it's not just Trump as this sort of aberration in the Republican Party, and also in general our culture of the cult of the deadly phallus, the cult of toughness and of brutality, and as a sign of virtue. Okay, literally, that it's an admirable feature to be brutal and sadistic. Okay, and I mean, maybe it's not. When you think back on our history, the genocide of the native peoples here, are when that genocide was no longer the frontier was closed, so to speak. Then we turned our impulses, or the people who were so inclined to brutalize other people, to imperial adventures in Latin America and in all around the world. Okay, and so in a way, it shouldn't be surprising, but there has been a period of time, of decades, let's say, or maybe even half a century, where the worst brutality was spared, or in interaction between people in the United States, the worst elements of our, let's say, our potential for violence, or were directed elsewhere, whatever, and now they're not. Okay, and so I mean, maybe some people find that to be just and fair, and yes, um, do we deserve it in some? I don't think that reporter deserves to be killed. And I just don't think, and I think that that attitude is kind of a cynical and fatalistic one, where we give up on stopping both imperialism and fascism. Okay, but anyway, this is how we are normalizing fascism by not calling these people thugs because they look a certain way, because they're white, because they look like they have they live in a detached house in a, they look like they, are comfortable retirees. They look like, middle class to upper middle class people, who nevertheless have violent proclivities, and who are trying to deny other Americans their equal rights, okay, and that they're via now this putsch of in the long putsch that the Republican Party is trying to implement in our electoral system, our leaky antiquated electoral system that has left many loopholes for a minority to take over the system, and so in this case a privileged white minority to take it over, but anyway, that this this can't be, we can't let our cultural prejudices and this long campaign of the press, among other people, and also the Democratic Party, of sparing these people, these thugs, either consequences for their wrongdoings, or just simply calling them out, telling them that they're not American. They're not acting in an American way. They're acting in a fascistic way. That, I will say, yes. I mean, some of the roots of fascism have American origins, in that the Nazis were, particularly the Nazis, not so much the Italian fascists, but the Nazis were studying American racial laws and eugenics and so forth and so on, and are the legal process of creating a caste system, a caste system in a country, and so it's not as though it's totally alien to our country, but certainly we were progressing, and we were getting to become the multiracial, multi-ethnic nation that we are, but for our political system of political power, and to some degree economic power, was becoming a little bit more equalized, nowhere near where it should be. So we have people like this gentleman. Actually, I shouldn't call him that. This thug, this guy. He's not. It was that was me calling him a gentleman was my complicity, or my cultural, me going along with this culture of excusing thuggery by white old people, white old males, and women to some degree, and saying, oh no, it's not. They get to keep their respectable reputations, And so this video is an attempt to break this down, okay, to have people, for these people to be shamed if they can be shamed, to rip away any and all supports for their sense of entitlement to power, entitlement to cultural acceptance. Just it has to be torn away, and unfortunately there's so many institutions that reinforce that that sense of entitlement to have no consequences. And another so to get more specific, this is an anti-vax and I imagine anti-mask mandate. I believe it's an anti-mask, both mandates rally, okay, that this man was at. So there's something, this man, talk about entitlement. This is an entitlement to infect other people. That's what he's for. Entitlement to infect other people with a potentially deadly pathogen. It's not statistically with a somewhat higher probability than many pathogens that we deal with. Not the most deadly, but way more infectious than almost everything we know. Okay. Anyway, that protecting other people and protecting yourself. So the mask wearing is about protecting other people and also protecting yourself. But the vaccine, we still have to figure out the degree to which vaccination reduces viral loads. It probably does. It probably reduces transfer. It doesn't eliminate the transfer of the virus. But anyway, this entitlement to hurt other people is on display in this video, but it's also part of his quote-unquote politics, okay, that he wants to reinforce the idea that he is allowed to hurt other people without consequence. And government can't get in the way of this sense of say, I can hurt other people. People are unknown to me, not my family, not whatever, just anybody. And meanwhile, of course, this can blow back on him. And this is what happens is that these right-wingers are dying in greater numbers than the corresponding people of the similar demographic on the left. Again, statistically, it's not 100%, but they're living out their political ideology to some degree. Some of them, others are, like the Fox News presenters who are stirring the pot. Probably, if not the most, at least, they're one of the key pathogens, okay, in this culture of reckless disregard for other people, and reckless endangerment, essentially. So anyway, so this culture of reckless endangerment is in the politics of anti-vax, and so and this idea that government is out to get you in every sense of the word, and every aspect of its operation, and you can't you have to rebel because you're a rugged individualist and so forth and so on. This is all and to enact in your mind all these scenarios where you can be this hero of standing up for your individual rights, to be this person who infects other people, or to be entirely not subject to any laws and regulations other than the ones that, for whatever reason, you think, and based on your personal preferences, you decide that are okay. So an entirely arbitrary reading of law, and again, egocentric and narcissistic. So anyway, so I'm trying to sketch out in different dimensions this personality type, this, and also trying to empower people to start calling these people what they are, and they're also, and try to at least spur some shame and maybe also action for people with power to prosecute them if and when they have committed crimes. So anyway, I hope this video has been thought-provoking for you, and please share any comments you have about this presentation in the comments, and also if you are enjoying, please like the video if you liked it, and also please subscribe to Polities 2100 if you're finding it helpful and useful to you. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.